What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Let's cut to the chase. In today's video, I want to drive Project Blueberry. Now, I did mention in the last couple of videos that one of the key items that I need to get the car driving on the street are the shift cables. In the last couple of days, I've been talking to a company that reached out. They've actually sent a couple of stuff to the channel before, and I've done some installation on some of their products. Some are still sitting up there because they're supposed to go into the giveaway car. Please stop asking about the giveaway car. We will get back on it really soon. We finally worked out some of the kinks, and I did sign up with the company. We have a new sponsorship on board. I want to give a big shout out to Bull Boost Performance. Now, you guys saw we did the Max Pina Rod shifter box install in the previous video, and we didn't install shift cables. That is because my shift cables that I had gotten that used to be up here, I gave it away to the people who bought my all-wheel drive CRX without even thinking. It's really hard to find shift cables in a junkyard because 5-speed, 6-speeds are rare in the junkyard, and when they do come in, it's a hit or miss. They're either gone or I already copped them. I want to give a big thank you to Bull Boost Performance for setting out a set of race cables. I have race cables in the KRX, and they've been functioning for the last 2 years or so now, and this is like literally one of the main key items that I need to get the car driving on the road. They are super affordable, and if you're interested in race cables yourself, be sure to hit the link in the description below. I also do have a discount code STATIC for you guys to save 10%. Cut away from yourself, not towards yourself. Cut away from yourself, not towards yourself. Not sure what this is. These are the transmission shift cable brackets, which I've already installed, but thank you for saying this as well too. These are the race cables. They are definitely a different construction from the OE shift cables, and they do have some adjustability on them. So with that being said, let's go to the car and figure out where we're gonna route these through. So according to the interweb, a lot of people are running their cables behind the motor mounts on the firewall in the back over here. It is going to be a little tough to get to that because behind that firewall we have this bracketry right here that most people cut off. It's going to be a little complicated because I can't put a tool back here to cut this bracket off because we need to make holes behind the bracket over here somewhere, and that's where it lands on the other side of the firewall behind the motor mount. So I think I'm just going to take a sawzall, or yeah, maybe a sawzall, and I'm just going to cut these bracket off. So I got a nice little rectangle cut out of the floorboard, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's two little dimples up there, and that's kind of my point of reference. Let me show you guys in the engine bay. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's over here at the tip of the flashlight. I don't know, it's somewhere there behind the motor mount. So again, that is my point of reference, and I'm either going to drill on that dimple or under that dimple, and that should be right behind the motor mounts. Bull Boost also did send me the bracket for the shifter that it's kind of like a dress up for the firewall, but it was actually a shipment separated from the shift cables, so I don't have it. What I got to keep in mind is when I drill the hole into the firewall, I cannot go wider than 4 inches because that's how wide the bracket is, and I'm only going to be drilling big enough to fit probably just this head in, right? And we don't need to go any bigger than that. We just need a good maybe 2.5 inches wide and maybe 1.5 inch tall to ensure that the cable is going to slip through the firewall without problems. So I don't have any more hole saws that are sharp, so I'm just going to use my uni bit, my little triangulated bit, and just hollow it out until the cables go through. Okay, so this hole right here, or should I say oval, is about 1.25 inches high and about 2 1/4 or 2.5 inch wide. I think that's going to be plenty for the shift cables. So let's go ahead and grab those and route them into the shifter to the transmission. I'm going to route this into the firewall first just to get the length out of the way. Okay guys, so we have the shift cables routed through the firewall ends. We're gonna go ahead and connect it to the shifter. Now, make sure that you have your cables on the right side.
I think the sensor themselves is not like, that's on the table for whenever. I like how these cool. Like when they have a party on the 13th, they meet. But I also have like crazy, not tacos, but like
So I was helping my nephew a little bit, working on his stage that was right here. Let me show you guys real quick. To all the TLC subscribers, Happy New Year's. My nephew was finishing up his stage because he is going to be performing this weekend. So we were just finishing it up for him and moving it inside here. And then he's going to have to move it to the temple later this weekend. Now I have the cables installed to the transmission and the shifter box, but I'm not really sure how I'm liking the bindage that we are having right here. The cable is really long and there's really no way to snake it, and it works, but like I just don't like how it looks, how bend and bind it, and how tight it's looking right here on this S shape. The shift feels really nice and solid, but it does feel a little sticky on fifth and reverse. This shifter has so many different adjustability. I haven't really messed with it yet, but that's fourth, that's fifth, and then it's like a little sticky, but it goes in, and I feel like maybe once it's broken in, it'll work like it should. That's fifth, that's reverse. That's pretty much the installation for the Bull Boost race cables. I'm probably gonna go into KRX and figure out what the settings I have for the shifter box and the cable, and then adjust it to that. But for right now, this works, and that's pretty much it for the Bull Boost race cable for the K20, K24 swap. And if you guys are interested in the same kit that we are using right here in this video, link in the description below. Use discount code STATIC to save 10% off. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. Or actually, you know what? Let me put all this back together. Oh yeah. So one more thing I want to do right now before we continue tomorrow with the parts from the parts store. I finally got my clutch line custom made, custom length for the K-Swap EG, and to tuck it a little bit. The line that I had in it before was a 40-inch, and it literally shot straight from the master to the slave right above the transmission, like literally just, you guys probably can't imagine that, but it just went like that. BR Fittings, as always, my go-to guy. Somebody said that his website doesn't work. I haven't actually checked it, so let me double check. Let me talk to Brian and make sure his website is up and going, so that way you guys can probably find fittings for whatever project you're doing. Brian makes these lines in-house in case you need like a custom length or something. The standard size is 40, which is typically what he sells for like turbo feed lines and stuff. But because I needed a 50, he built me a new one in-house with a 45-degree end. This is gonna go onto the slave, and then we have a straight because this is gonna go on the banjo fitting that we have for the master. So that is this guy right here. So we're gonna be adding the banjo on the master side because of how tight the spacing is between the frame and the outlet of the master. So here's the banjo. We have the bolts. We have 2 crush washers, and this is a 90 just to make it nice and tight and possibly tuck under the master. I'll try to show you guys this. Maybe, kind of, sort of. It looks like it clears, but I don't have any space down there to tighten up the line to the fitting. So I'm gonna pull the fitting back off and install the line on beforehand. Okay, let's go ahead and install this one more time. This thing is nicely tucked down there. I like it. Now, I was saying the old line literally went from the master straight across right here, and it went into the slave, but it was pointing up really high because of it being a straight fitting. On this line here, I have it on a 45-degree fitting, so that way we can tuck it up really close to the engine and trans. I tried putting the clutch line this way, but it was just too long. There's too much extra, and I ended up rerouting it back towards the firewall, and I went over the second set of brake lines, and it goes along the T-bracket, along the transmission here, and it goes all the way to the slave right there. Let's go ahead and put some fluid in this thing and see if it'll bleed out. Need to call for reinforcement. Can you pump it? Huh? No, multiple times. So it might be easier than use your hand.
Okay, just let me know when.
Pump it. It's causing a suction. Okay guys, so I went to the parts store earlier this morning and I got some hoses for the reservoir to the radiator. I have a wideband sensor, part number 17018 for the first AEM Uego wideband, and this is not the X series. It uses a different sensor if you have the X series. And I also found 2 sets of 2668 iridiums for the K-swap, brand new in the box, in my tote full of brand new parts up there. Okay guys, so the sensor is the AEM Uego, not the X series or the other series. This is one of the first ones that came out, part number 358460, and the wiring is not complicated. There's 4 in here. We have this analog, serial analog blue one. We don't really use it. We have this white one that is supposed to be the signal to the ECU, so the ECU can read what the wideband is reading. If you're running K-Pro, this goes to the analog 0 on the external harness that plugs into the board separately. If you're using K-Tuner, I'm not entirely sure. We're gonna have to figure it out once we get K-Tuner on board. Black is ground, red is power. I'm just gonna tie these 2 right here to the radio just to simplify the wiring, and this one right here, I'm gonna have to extend it and run it down to the ECU. But for right now, we're not gonna run it because we're not gonna be keeping K-Pro in this car, obviously. So I am gonna extend it and just kind of tuck it away. But for right now, ground and power. Huh. What's going on here? Something wrong with the gauge? So we have the AEM wideband installed. We have the harness tucked back here behind the plate. I did put a Bluetooth module in the back just to have front speakers. It is a two-way. The second hole right here is for a boost gauge, which we'll install later. And I do have the markings for a third gauge, which I don't need right now. I'm probably going to keep here for some switches or ejectocito button or something. I don't know. But we have the analog for the ECU wire right here extended. And I'm just going to coil this up and put it away. Zip tie all out of the passenger footwell. But aside from that, that is done. Now let's go ahead and get the wideband installed onto the header. Did it once over with the engine bay, installed a few little miscellaneous items. I had to take the KRX sensor, put it back into the car, and I found a spare one in my tool bag. And that's the IAT sensor. But right now we got the battery hooked up, and I'm gonna get the laptop connected to the ECU.
Interesting. The map sensor doesn't work.
Map sensor doesn't work?
Nope.
Oh, I see a -10.
It's just staying at 10. Rev it up. Yeah, the map sensor doesn't work.
Oh, so let me... Should I go check the wire real quick, turn it off?
Yeah, turn it off.
Yeah, it's a B-series throttle body, and I'm wondering if the Omni sensor is bad. Should I switch over to a Skunk 2 real quick?
Yeah, swap the sensor because I think the map sensor is dark.
Yeah, it's just old. I found it in one of my bins.
Yeah. You want to go for that? K-Series? Yeah.
Vibration. 55, 56 maybe. Should be all right. Yo, big shout out to Jeremy right here. Did a quick little base map on the K24 Project Blueberry. This thing is sounding freaking awesome. I'm gonna put you on the intake manifold, Jeremy. You're gonna vibrate a little bit. Damn, this thing sounds freaking awesome. So I know I told you guys I want to drive the car, right? We're still gonna do it. We're gonna continue tomorrow with this car back on the ground and hopefully going for its first drive. So I'm gonna clean up and I'll see you guys in just a minute. right, guys, so that was the first drive with Project Blueberry, and it feels good. It does need an alignment for sure, and second gear doesn't seem like it's there. It's all grinds. But if I go to fourth, it's there. And if I go to reverse, obviously we got out of the driveway. Reverse works, but second gear is not there. All grinds, and that's not good. Woo! Project Blueberry finally off the driveway. I don't remember how long it has been since I bought this car. Probably coming up 2 months maybe, from a shell to a running K-swap car. Everything is sounding freaking awesome in here, man. I want to give a big shout out to Jeremy for creating this base map and getting this car running tip tops. The idle's looking freaking awesome. The smoke is no longer puffing out the back, man. Look at this. Look at this turn down. We built this exhaust system with eBay parts, sounding freaking amazing. I mean, it's kind of loud, but it's a nice loud. So guys, this is literally the beginning of the second phase. Second phase is all of the turbo components. I would love to give it a static stress test, man, but that second gear's got me kind of questioning a lot of things. I am gonna wrap up the video right here. I'm gonna take advantage of the rest of the day without recording to button up Project Blueberry and just do a once over with everything. The brakes need to be bled. The car needs an alignment for sure. Dust shield's making a lot of noise. The passenger side dust shield is scraping on the rotor. The back of the exhaust does not have a gasket, so it has a little exhaust leak. So I'm gonna take the time to situate all of that. I hope you guys enjoyed Project Blueberry's first drive, and if you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up. And if you guys want to stick around for phase 2 of the build for Project Blueberry, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.